Who You Crappin' brought to you by Townstone Financial. I like to keep this simple. This is something someone said, not something someone did. And I'm also pretty sure, as I am always sure, that Jason will have a very short trigger finger for those of you who go too long.
We always admonish, too, to try and avoid the low-hanging fruit of the obviously partisan political craps.
You know, there's one out there, and I don't think it's partisan politics, but it's a good one.
Kaz in Huntington, Indiana starts us off on Who You Crappin' on the score.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. This is a first-time crapper here.
Good luck with your first crap.
This crap goes out to Charles Barkley. Last Thursday night before the Bulls game on TNT, Charles said, quote, Kevin Love is the first best forward in the league, unquote. Never mind the fact that you sound like a complete moron by saying first best, considering that the word best implies, well, better than everyone else. But isn't he forgetting someone? Now, I'll be the first to admit that I cannot stand this guy, but isn't there a guy currently in the league that plays forward whose resume includes two-time MVP, Rookie of the Year, scoring champion, two-time All-Star MVP, 8-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA First Team, and 3-time NBA All-Defensive Team? What's his name? Oh, yeah, LeBron James. Charles, you terrible analyst. Who are you crapping?
Thank you, Kaz. Jackie Treehorn says, this goes out to Dan Bernstein. Last Friday, Dan was comparing the international marketability of Derrick Rose and Dwight Howard. Rose is an international star, Dan said. You don't see giant billboards of Dwight Howard in China like you do Rose. Dan, I live in Guangzhou, China.
Uh-oh.
5 minutes after hearing that comment on podcast, my bus passed the Guangzhou Adidas store, where dual billboards of Derrick Rose and Dwight Howard proclaimed Adidas is all in. Love you, Dan. Love the show. Love your suit. And who you crapping?
You know, I had a feeling that sounded wrong, but I can't speak to China.
You're not allowed to. Actually, you've been banned.
Exactly right. Well, got to be careful these days.
Jack in Evanston is on the score.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. My crap goes out to Hub Arkish, the Score's football expert. A few weeks ago, going into Week 15, he was asked, I believe it was on Mac and Steve's show, he was asked whether or not the chances of the Bears making the playoffs if they won 2 out of their last 3 games. He said, they'd be 9-7 at the time. Depending on what Atlanta and Detroit did, maybe they'd get in. Well, fast forward to last Sunday on the pre-game show on the Score, he stated for the record that the Giants didn't deserve to be in the Super Bowl, that no 9-7 team deserves to be in the Super Bowl. Which is it, Hub? It's okay for the Bears, but not for anybody else? Hub Arkish, who are you crapping?
Thank you, Jack. Glenn says during a SoxFest interview, Jake Peavy was asked whether he'd finally recovered from surgery to reattach the latissimus dorsi in his throwing shoulder. Peavy, who I'm sure was simultaneously rehabbing his shoulder and signing autographs with his offhand, said, I'm as 100% as I can be. I don't know if I'm 100% as to what I was 4 years ago. I know I'm as 100% as 100% is going to get after what I had done. Later, asked whether he felt he should adjust his pitching style to compensate for the injury, Peavy, digging really deep and giving it everything he had, said, I don't want to do that. What I want to do is what I did in the past or come close to that. That's who I am. No, Jake, by your own admission, that's not who you are. It's who you were. If your self-esteem is so wrapped up in maintaining your image as a tough guy who overpowers hitters, that's your issue. But don't expect fans to buy into that by accepting anticipatory excuses for your failure to perform up to that image. Fans are willing to accept players get old and injured. What they won't accept is players who refuse to adjust how they play the game to accommodate their decline. Congratulations, Jake. You've joined the upper echelon of excuse makers in sports. All you need to do now is start texting pictures of your wanged women in the promotions department, and you can replace Brett Favre. Jake Peavy, who you crapping?
Not in our promotions department, is it?
No, I'd probably theirs or ours. It's fine.
That's fine.
Napoleon Dynamite is on the score.
What the heck is a wang? Anyway, this crap goes out to you, Mr. Bernstein, who during the Super Bowl tweeted this nugget of wisdom. Why not just run backwards on the conversion to eat time? Well, Dan, I checked my brother Kit. He said the NFL rule states the clock does not run during conversion attempts. You flipping idiot. But Dan, you large-headed, gay, bearded weirdo, who you crapping, K-bye?
He's always
standing ovation.
He's always bearding people.
Standing ovation?
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm standing up.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I'm sitting down now, but I'm going to stand up.
I didn't know the 2-point conversion was completely untimed until
this jerk tweets. Why does he just run backwards?
So I'm thinking, why did he time? Then they said, well, it's untimed. I said, well, that's a really good reason then. That makes perfect sense. Mike in St. Charles, you're on the score.
This crap goes out to Mr. Chris Collinsworth. During the Super Bowl, shortly after Wes Welker missed a throw from Tom Brady that would have set the Patriots up in Giants territory, Chris said, Wes Welker makes that catch 100 out of 100 times. Chris, if he makes that catch 100 out of 100 times, then why did he not catch that ball? The last time I checked, 100 out of 100 is 100%. If you miss one, that is no longer 100%. I understand that you're trying to emphasize that Wes Welker doesn't normally miss that catch. However, you can't say he did make that catch 100 out of 100 times, especially when he just missed that catch. So, Chris, here are a couple of pointers. 1, try using the saying 99 out of 100. 2, stop taking broadcast lessons from Phil Simms. And 3, ask yourself who you're crapping.
Thank you, sir. Alex Snellius, in loving memory of Ursula, writes, Monday night, the Bulls went to New Jersey to take on the formidable Nets, and Derrick Rose, having logged only 10 minutes of action, was forced to leave the game after an awkward jump pass, back spasms. And then there was the inevitable drooling and uncontrollable flatulence, but he would not return.
Wait a minute.
In the post-game show, Coach Thibodeau was asked if he was anxious about the health of his star point guard. You're always concerned, Thibodeau responded elusively, certainly with Derrick, but no more than with injuries to other players. Health is always a concern. So, Thibs has only one level of concern when it comes to injuries, be it Derrick Rose or John Lucas. That's just dumb. Dumb like starting an injured superstar against the Hornets in February. I guess he believes his team benefits from this every player is equal mantra. But it's not like Rose's teammates are unaware that he's the best player on the team and his injuries warrant more attention. He won the MVP award of the league. He's the most valuable player. It would suck if he missed significant time. Injuries to MVPs are more important than injuries to players who are not MVPs. There's nothing controversial in admitting that. Tom Thibodeau, stop being so weird. And who you crapping?
It goes right up there with the answer we had earlier. That's right up there.
I know. Gary from Evanston, you're on the score.
Hi, guys. I wish I had saved the Bonanza comic books I had in the mid-'60s as a kid. And this Sunday will be the 97th anniversary of the birth of the late, great Lorne Greene, the greatest Canadian who ever lived.
I'm still looking for a woman.
The great Canadian and the great American have the same birthday.
That's correct, yes.
Anyway, if Terry already got the goof Gordon Gee in the second half, I have a general crap for Mike Mulligan, who at the start of the Mulligan Hanley show from Las Vegas on Monday morning said that, quote, the Super Bowl was a great, great game, and while there were mistakes made, for the most part, it was a clean game. Well, it was a very exciting game, but I think it will be far more remembered for the mistakes like the Brady safety, the 12-man penalties, the wasted timeouts, and the late drop passes by the Patriots, which have already prompted some dopey Patriot fans to razz Wes Welker by eating Butterfinger bars. I like Mulligan Hanley, but Mike Mulligan, who are you crapping?
Orange Buttercat says this goes out to Channel 5 News, who this morning were in full panic alert as there is an epidemic of TV sets falling onto children and killing them. They were even discussing ways to prevent these occurrences with experts. How does one become an expert on televisions not falling on children? I'm pretty sure I could apply for that job. The reporter asked the tough question, what can parents do so this doesn't happen in their homes? The expert stated, you should secure your television.
Oh, no.
What planet do we live on? A highly paid reporter asks an expert on falling TVs how not to kill your children with televisions. And how is it epidemic? Are the TV sets attacking adults? Are they forming an alliance to take over the world? There is an epidemic, and it's an epidemic of people being stupid. And with stories like this leading off the news, asking experts how not to kill your children with TVs, it makes me want to drive the wrong way on a major road. Hope that doesn't reach epidemic Oh, that's the next story? Stop with the hyperbole for the stupid. NBC, who you crapping?
That's why you don't have a TV in the kids' room.
Well, I don't know. Not an unsecured TV.
There have been 4 of them, though.
Unemployed lawyer, you're on the score.
With no TVs in kids' room. I mean, I turned out...
No, that's not an example.
Well, I turned out, I guess, is my point. Anyway.
Turned out.
After successfully avoiding a conversation with Dana last Thursday, Larry Fitzgerald told Dan and Terry why he wanted a college degree. Quote, education is one thing that somebody can never take from you, injury or anything like that. Let's hope Larry's not going for a degree in English. Anyway, while it's mostly true that nobody can take a person's education and that most injuries cannot either, Larry is a professional football player. You know, heads smashing together, concussions, concussive hits, CTE, the end result being jellied brains rendering a person unable to speak, let alone expound on the subtleties of nuclear engineering. Well, I guess if Mr. Mouth can do it. Anyway, Larry Fitzgerald, who you
Takes a shot at Mr. Mouth in there, too.
Wow.
I love it.
Man.
Jim Edmonds Eyeliner says this goes out to Hollywood publicist Michael Conley, who just provided the following statement to ABC News regarding the bankruptcy filing of his client and helmet law poster child, actor Gary Busey. As with many great American institutions, i.e. General Motors, American Airlines, and others who have utilized the strategic business plan of bankruptcy, Gary's filing is the final chapter in a process that began a few years ago of jettisoning the litter of past unfortunate choices, associations, circumstances, and events. Great American institutions? At the end of the day, the bankruptcy filing of your Batloon crazy client will rank up there more with the likes of bearded country bard Willie Nelson, You Gotta Pray MC Hammer, and the Twinkie Mothership hostess. Too bad Busey didn't jettison your sorry puppy who you crappin'. In Oak Park, it's our buddy Beard on the score.
Hello.
Hello.
Anyway, God, I'm sorry, that last crap was funny. Anyway, yesterday, Matt Abedicola shared with us that he was pleased to learn that there were actually intelligent people in Pennsylvania. Dan then responded by saying, well, that may be true, but we're still carrying out our napalm attack. Some good people are going to have to die. And Terry responded by saying, yeah, I'm firing up the Enola Gay as we speak. The Enola Gay? Damn it, Terry, we're trying to napalm Pennsylvania, not nuke it. Who you crapping?
Okay, that's what we're doing. Who you crapping? We're in the middle of it. We're looking for the big finish, you know. That's what we expect from you.
Yes.
312-644-6767. Give it a shot. Signature segment. Who you crapping? Chicago Plus Radio 670. All right, we're looking for the big finish. Who you crapping? Chicago Sports Radio 670 The Score. Boers and Bernstein, and I still haven't heard what I believe would be a completely nonpartisan crap. I haven't heard it.
All right, we'll see.
It's out there. I haven't heard it.
Well, it's interesting that this guy comes up next after just taking a side swipe from his guy, but Mr. Mouth is on Who You Crappin'.
Hey, Spuddy.
Hey,
Spuddy.
Dan Bernstein knows his medicine. In fact, doctor talk is his particular forte, like Harold Bloom in Criticism of Hamlet, or Terry in Making Odd Noises. And that's why it's okay for Dan to make fun of Jay Goff for thinking that low temperatures cause the common cold. And if you're like David Haw and don't like all the clinical terms bandied about modern sport, that's too damn bad. Look him up at the Mayo Clinic website like Dan Bernstein does. And that's why I'm eagerly awaiting Dan's forthcoming research causally linking stress with gastric ulcers. You see, until last Monday, when Dan told us all that stress might have caused Derrick Rose's ulcers, I was like the rest of the World Confederacy of dunces, including, WebMD, the Mayo Clinic site that Dan claims to use, and the 2005 Committee for the Nobel Prize in Medicine and Physiology, and thinking that ulcers are caused by Helicobacter pylori, or, rarely, prolonged anti-inflammatory use. After all, there's no way Dan was just spreading a false old wives' tale about stress causing ulcers, right? So, Dan, remember... Bundle up. Relax. Stop spanking so much or you'll go blind. And that goes double for you, Terry. And who you crapping?
Too late.
I can't see anything.
Too late. Too late.
Schmutzy says Pennsylvania Governor Tom Corbett was interviewed yesterday about the Commonwealth's budget. And while the reporter was warned that Corbett couldn't answer questions about Jerry Sandusky, he did field a couple. When asked about his reaction to revelations that Sandusky had been accused of molesting children, Corbett said, when it was first brought to my attention, it was just total shock. I said, my goodness, well, we got to follow it up. I have a reputation as somebody who's gone after child predators for a long period of time. That's partially true. While Attorney General, Corbett's office established a child predator unit and was successful in prosecuting 100% of 170 people charged with crimes against children. But that only makes his handling of the Sandusky investigation that much more fishy. Corbett's office started investigating Sandusky in 2008. Sandusky wasn't arrested until 3 years later, after Corbett had left the AG's office to become governor. When asked previously why his office didn't arrest Sandusky immediately upon hearing of the child molestation allegations, Corbett said there wasn't enough evidence to establish a pattern of behavior. Pure nonsense. Corbett didn't wait for those 170 convicted to establish a pattern of behavior. He just arrested them. It's almost as if Corbett intentionally dragged his feet on this Sandusky investigation for political reasons, because he was running for governor and because the Penn State folks carry big weight in Pennsylvania. That might also explain why the guy who claims a reputation of going after child predators approved a $3 million grant to the Second Mile, a foundation started by Jerry Sandusky just this past July. Yeah, Tom Corbett went after child predators for a long period of time, all right. Unfortunately for Jerry Sandusky's victims, how long that period was depended on who he was investigating. Tom Corbett, who you crappin'.
Nicely done.
That's real good. Mm-hmm. Bob in Blue Island is next on the score. Hello, Bob.
Hey, guys. Great show. Hey, this crap goes out to Lawrence Holm, who the other day was talking about a Sports Illustrated article about a pitcher that was kidnapped and had to pay a ransom. And Lawrence's quote was, "Man, these people in Inglewood, Compton, the west side of Chicago, always talking about how bad their neighborhood is." Well, Lawrence, let's think. If you live in Venezuela and you get kidnapped, that means you got money. Usually, you don't.
Ooh.
I think Lawrence got him.
No, actually, all the phone banks just crapped out.
We're having a phone issue, and Matabatacola is about to go kill someone.
Everybody.
Literally.
He'll kill everybody.
Seriously, that just erased everybody.
Yeah, we were having a one-line issue.
Yeah,
and
4
then
was out, right?
We said that we have to restart it during transition when we aren't doing a phone-driven segment, and they did it because they heard us say that we're not going to do transition.
Well, we're checking right now to see if it's being worked on because, what you do technically, like for the radio station, whenever there's a problem, you work on it during this show.
That's apparently
that's the standard.
Yeah.
Because there's other shows on the air, but God forbid you do something when those guys are on the air because they'll go insane. So, just do all the crap during the B&B show and affect our show because we just don't care.
I think you guys need to start pulling out the whooping stick a little bit more.
Because they know that we don't get crazy about that. We don't have.
No, but I'm about to.
Okay.
Well, that's why we have the fiery Matabatacola.
That is exactly the way it's supposed to be.
I'm going to take my voice recorder over by Matt.
Oh, go record. This is a case where there's some executive producing going on. So while
it's true though.
Yeah, it is. While he's doing that, I will read this.
Can I do some associate producing?
About time.
What does that entail?
I have no idea.
I'm giving you all your thoughts.
That helps. Especially in February. February, we need you, no doubt.
We need thoughts for anybody.
This says it goes out to Bruce Weber, who, following a 74-70 loss against a Northwestern team shorthanded by injuries, said the following, quote, "I learned my lesson. I got to use my bench." Had Weber learned his lesson that the bench is actually important any time prior to Sunday, like say in his previous 13 and a half seasons as head coach, then maybe the Illini would have had more than one bench player see more than 1 minute. The Illini starters wouldn't have been dog-ass tired at the end of the game, and Northwestern wouldn't have scored 36 of its 74 in the last 11 minutes and 50 seconds. If only anyone could have told him to use this elusive mystery of coaching. Like, say, a coach with 33 and a half years of bench experience that said the following August 23rd of 2011. "I know I can play 10. I think I can squeeze in 11. It's going to be hard to play 12. Or the same coach who said July 22nd of 2010, "I think we have a lot of versatile players. We have some depth. Now we have to figure out a way to use it. The big key, and it's up to me, is keeping them confident and playing enough minutes. That can become a strength for us, that depth." The exact same coach, August 8th, 2009. "I think one of my challenges this year is figuring out how to play more guys and get something out of them." Well, you get the idea. That fountain of basketball knowledge I'm quoting, Bruce Weber. Bruce, the only lesson you've learned is how to regurgitate trite coach speak in a feeble attempt to distract fans and journalists long enough to save your job. Bruce Weber, who you crappin'?
Well, what should we do? Should we close it this way, or should I check my man?
No, go ahead. You're good. No. You take those last two.
Okay. Dave in Berwyn is on Who You Crappin' on the score.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good, Dave. Fire away.
It's open. I had a crap for Dan McNeil, hockey elitist. The other day he was talking about the crappy teams the Bulls are playing, and he wishes the Blackhawks would go through a similar stretch. Players with names like B. Umslayer on the back of their jersey. The thing is, they are playing players with B. Umslayer on the back of their jersey because they're the bums. and they're getting killed. So Dan McNeil, who are you crapping?
You text the ill. You're chasing down the ill.
Beverly Brewmaster says Gisele Bündchen came to the defense of her husband, responding to hecklers by yelling, "My husband cannot effing throw the ball and catch the ball at the same time. I can't believe they dropped the ball so many times." As a Bears fan who watched Jay Cutler struggle, I'm sympathetic. However, let's not forget what occurred a few days before the Super Bowl. Seemingly motivated by Tim Tebow's use of performance-enhancing prayer, Gisele sent out an email to family and friends requesting they, quote, pray for Brady so he can feel confident, healthy, and strong. She didn't ask them to pray for the Patriots. She didn't ask them to pray for the offense. She asked them to pray for Brady and only Brady. Now, I'm of the belief God has better things to do, but since Gisele apparently thinks otherwise, she's got to pick a lane. Either acknowledge it's a team game and seek divine intervention on behalf of those like Wes Welker who really need it, or ignore Brady's teammates after the game just as she did before. But for the Brazilian beauty, it's all about Tom until they lose. Gisele Bündchen, who you crapping? Terry, check your manometer now.
Well, this is a new place. I was just there the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where it is?
Manitowish Waters?
No, it's Manville Street.
Manville Street.
Manville Street.
Well, bearing the pressure will be Bob in Blue Island to close us out of the score.
Hey, guys. Yeah, I think Lawrence almost got me. The other day, Lawrence was talking to Dan Bernstein about an article in SI about a guy who got kidnapped who played for the Washington, the Washington baseball team. And Lawrence's quote was, "Oh, these people in Inglewood and the South Side and Compton are always talking about how bad their neighborhood. You don't get kidnapped over there, Lawrence. The only reason why you don't hear about kidnapping in Inglewood, Compton, and the South Side, because usually they just shoot the hell out you and take it." Lawrence, I know you've been living in Hyde Park. If you keep talking like that, I'm going to have to make you the next Republican presidential candidate. Lawrence, who you crapping?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
Maybe you were having an off day.
Oh, well.
Hey, buddy.
All right.
That we were napping.
Hey, buddy.
Who you crapping?